Hi, I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We are AutoSave. Welcome to our
Today
channel.
we're back with Rezero, Season 1, Episode 12. Last episode is the conclusion to our fight. We were, I guess, saved, right, by Roswaal. He was the one who dealt the finishing blow to that battle. And then we learned a bit... Whoa, it's raining.
I know, it's like storming outside.
Sorry.
It literally just happened.
But Rem... Thankfully, we were given a bit of backstory for Rem and Ram, actually, but it gave us a pretty good insight on each of their personalities a little bit, why they are the way that they are going forward, and then Rem had a great interaction with Subaru towards the end of last episode that was just awesome to see.
I feel like the whole backstory that we got with Rem and Ram honestly just felt very validating in everything that I had already felt like I was seeing and witness to in their personalities from all that time and that repeated time that Subaru had in the mansion.
Yeah, that ending with Ram on Roswaal's lap though, like it could totally be nothing. But
it could totally be nothing.
Yeah.
It's unsettling because their language was so cryptic, I guess, and not specific, but also like the things that were said were very like big at the same time, like owing your body to someone basically.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean by that?
It's a good question. Where do we go from here, you know? Will we figure out if the names or writing on Subaru's cast was just for fun and names or some type of healing spell? That's equally important to me as all the other mysteries in the show and the dragon that Roswaal wants to save.
Yeah, and the maid that Rem and Ram learned from at the Roswaal mansion.
Where?
So.
Where are you? What happened to you? Did you get to retire? Are you like did you get to request after all of your duty from Roswaal that you could be a permanent resident and get waited on in your own right? I don't know. Did the maid become Betty? That's something that makes no sense that I just thought of.
Because they're both blonde.
Let's find out. You ready? Sweet. The date.
Her cloak is so cute.
So cute.
They're getting little stamps. I love Puck. It's like he's a teacher. Giving gold stars.
Yes. That is what happened.
Thank you for the recap, Subaru.
Over the small details.
She doesn't want to let you down. She's just going to tell you not to worry about it. Nothing better than a breeze carrying petals going through a girl's hair.
What is that?
Are we being called upon about Felt?
From the capital. Royal selection.
Wouldn't it be crazy if it was Reinhard?
You're not welcome.
See, I thought we were finally getting the tie back to Felt.
Who are you? I want to learn more about you.
Just butlers doing butler things? I love it.
The Butler Boys. Like the heart on his tongue.
Believed.
Old man Will. Who are you?
Look at the ears.
Another contestant?
Does everyone just call old men old men?
Are there cat people in all isekais?
My question was equally as important. Are all old men called old man?
They need to know their place. Yeah.
The foot. So maybe it's like a seal or something.
Water
Water
magic.
magic. And healing
Nice.
magic. Felix. Love that name. Roswell feels like he's playing a chess game and he is like looking at the board and all these characters and like playing with them.
What?
Those young man's eyes.
Oh my god. What?
She's right.
Whoa. Has a little green hat. Yes!
Who are you? We've never met. Look at Subaru, he's like, oh, my hand. Not the hand Subaru was just holding.
And their color schemes go well together.
Boo.
Conference mirrors. FaceTime.
No way it's them.
Uh-oh. I could see where he's coming from, right? Yeah.
The hoodlums in question.
Shamak. Do you think Felt's here?
No. I believe it.
I believe it too.
So Wilhelm's family, right? Is he really just gonna pick a fight with every guy he meets?
Very rich? Royalty?
Is she also part of the selection?
Probably. Look at her eyes. Has to be another person in the selection, right? Damn. She has Roswell.
there. Don't give in, Rem. He could get Amelia into, like, trouble. And I will be very distracted.
That was quick, and this looks extravagant.
Oh, of course it would be them. Her dress.
Whoa.
Ooh.
I can't tell if, like, it's true to a certain degree or that's how, like, privileged she is, right?
Very sheltered.
Appa handler. Oh, God.
Sole reason to have him around is for Appas.
Amelia's gonna be so pissed.
I know. This was not a good decision.
Is it gonna, like, make her look better, too, that she's stolen one of Amelia's servants?
Oh, shoot. Reason to trust you, and now...
Council of Wise Men.
Those men look very wise.
They look
I
like
believe it.
Pokemon trainers, or like gym leaders. Sounds entertaining. Heal.
There was a big reason why she didn't want him there.
Do you have a favorite other than Amelia?
Oh, I like all of them. Gotta write that down.
Felix Argyle.
Felix. Him.
Time is money.
Maybe it'll be a drinking party. Was he doing that to interjection to help Subaru there?
Dragon's Priestess.
A new prophecy?
Dragonstone. Covenant with the dragon? Yeah, there's only 4 there. Do you think Felt is the 5th?
No, maybe it's Reinhard. No, maybe it was Felt. Stop. What?
I'm a very happy person. Okay, that was Rezero, Season 1, Episode 12. That was a big episode.
Yeah.
We got a lot of information.
So bear with us a little bit, because there were a lot of names for people,
Yeah.
a lot of new characters.
It's crazy because we have this like huge element of this show being that of Subaru's abilities, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how intricate that can be and when and where to utilize that. but it also has so much intricacies in like the interpolitical world and like world building of the show.
What I found really interesting going into this episode in terms of like my physical feelings in watching it is that Subaru has a lot of flair to him that is slightly embarrassing, the things that he'll say and openly confess to, and how willing he is to use words like date and say sweet things to Amelia and about her. But coming into this setting in this episode, there was this like secondhand embarrassment layer where I was like, okay, it's really cute and endearing when he does it outside of this setting, but now that we're in a serious setting, you're like you're like, oh no, Subaru, like seriously, this is not the time and place to be like staring angrily at people and not standing in line in formation. Like he starts moving around Felix and I was like, no. Like I was getting such secondhand like worry, embarrassment from watching this because I was like, I don't want him to screw it up, but also like, does he not have any awareness to him? Like,
one of the reasons why I think Subaru is such an interesting main character is that he reminds me of, this is a positive thing, of people in like real life who are able to be the same person regardless of what scenario they are in.
No matter who's in the room with you.
They're unapologetically themselves.
Right.
All the time.
And I think I really appreciate us being given obviously the same character and such a strong personality, and that us having that feeling in this episode of like, ooh, because I think what it does to the viewer is it makes you feel as a viewer the tenseness of the setting we're in.
Yeah.
Thanks to us seeing Subaru acting so much of the same as he always does, but in a different setting, what it does is it ends up almost making the setting itself that we're now in seem like bigger and scarier and more tense.
I definitely agree with that.
So I think like that was perfect, and I have spent the whole time being like, oh my god, is he gonna get in trouble? Is he gonna get her in trouble? Thank gosh for Priscilla's knight for raising their hand and saying something, because I feel like there was an element there that was like,
I got
protecting
you, bro.
him. Like, I got you, bro. Yeah.
I need to know what he looks like under the helmet.
Headless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so going through the episode, right? There's a couple things that, like, are disjointed that I just want to talk about, like singularly.
This is probably the most notes I've ever taken for a Rezero episode too, actually.
So the old man Will. Like, the idea of calling anybody over a certain number age an old man.
It doesn't even need to be an age number. It's just if they have, like, all white hair.
I think that needs to be applied to our current world we're living in. Because it is not only funny and potentially degrading, but it also potentially has this, like, ounce and like feeling of respect to it, right?
And then,
you're putting respect on their wisdom and their age. Hey man, if you're able to survive to that age, you're doing something right.
I mean, we have seen mob beasts and they seem pretty scary.
Yeah.
There's dragons in this world.
So he's known as the sword demon, which needs to be explored, as well as his apparent wife. And if they are still alive. Yeah. But no, his last name definitely as well. The Astria is the same as Reinhardt's, correct? Which would, I assume, tie him somehow into, like, his belief in Felt. I wonder...
Isn't that also the name of the castle that they're in?
It like, led Old Man Ram to the assumption that that's where that they would be. I am like, okay, so first of all, I need, like, the entire backstory of Wilhelm van Astria, the sword demon. I need to know why he has that name. What's the other name that we got a few episodes ago? In terms of, where is it?
In terms of
the Bowel Hunter. Like, there are names in this world of ReZero that we are given that, like, you don't just give somebody the name, the title,
or a lore name.
The Bowel Hunter, right? There needs to be actions that have, you know.
There are bards in the bars nearby in the tavern singing songs about the Bowel Hunter. I 100% believe it.
And there's reasons that the Bowel Hunter was given that title. So, the sword demon. What do you mean? Are you that, like, terrifying when it comes to wielding a sword? Like... I don't know. The word demon has been used a couple times in the show as well. Have you slayed demons in your past?
Oof. I mean, if you like layer this element of like, oh, the people around Wilhelm obviously have this possible like respect. I think that is hard to deny. But Felix, the character that's riding in this caravan with him, says things obviously with such respect. But we know about Felix. Water magic, healing magic, so much so that Emilia trusts him to finish off the healing on Subaru.
Yeah. I wonder how this is going to connect to Felt's understanding and lineage. Like, okay, so when I'm thinking of Felt even being there, my mind immediately goes to the insignia that Felt was holding and Reinhardt's reaction to it at the end of the fight with the Bow Hunter. Because, like, that was the calling card of him being like, all right, like this is serious. We got to take you away. And my initial impression was like, oh no, I hope Felt isn't like in a prison somewhere for some reason.
And he made it. He definitely, his dialogue lent to that this was a serious crime for Felt to have taken this. That's what we were leaning towards. He was insinuating.
But with the idea,
and I almost want to go back and hear the actual dialogue again he uses.
So the insignia, it seemed like it was. I had moved all of my notes to a different place, so they're going to be a little disjointed. But the idea of it was to identify when somebody was a candidate, right? The stolen insignia. So her holding it must have given Reinhardt showing Reinhardt that she was one of the candidates, right?
Is there a magic to it that would lead to or lend to it a candidate's worthiness if they can hold it?
Because it's called a touchstone, I believe. Yeah, I could be wrong, but
so Reinhard obviously gets it cleared up in that specific scene that it was Emilia's and that this girl had stolen it. But for him to think anything of it, there must be some magic to this touchstone that Felt was even able to steal it, touch it. Something of that nature.
Well, I think it probably showed something on the touchstone. I think it probably glowed a certain color or turned a certain color or emitted some type of mana or like energy that allowed Reinhardt to identify that, you know.
Or if crazy time, like what if Reinhardt is presenting Felt as this candidate for a motive? Like that Felt doesn't necessarily fit the bill, but it did seem to glow a little bit.
So we're pulling it back up right now in episode 3, and once Felt pulls it out, we can't like just right off the bat say that it's glowing because we don't have a previous establishing shot of what it would look like when somebody other than Felt was holding it at the moment. But when we do get the zoom in and Reinhardt's reaction of it seems to be glowing some sort of red, and then he starts reacting and grabs Felt's arm and says, how can this be? What is your name? It's Felt. And your family name? How old are you? I don't have anything fancy like a family name. So what I am believing to be the case from this whole interaction is that at some point in Felt's parents' lives, they had a kid, and whether in secrecy or not, felt like the only way to protect this kid because they were being like targeted was to like let this kid go and give them up basically, which makes me think that maybe even old man Ram had a little bit of a suspicion of what is Felt's true lineage and who is interacting with her and why the whole idea of the name of Astria brought up and would be given to Ram's reaction.
Especially when we know now from the end of the episode that there needs to be 5 candidates. Interesting. Gosh, I thought for sure Felt was like locked in a cell somewhere.
Yeah, I
wasn't going like torture, but I was definitely going like locked up and we might have to spring her from jail.
Yeah. I'm much more interested in the route that they're going here.
I know.
I wonder what Felt's reaction to all of this is. Like, does this, like, from her disposition of being somebody who steals things and is barely getting by. Hell, we watched Felt's living situation be completely demolished, right? And imagine her like the like destined dragon priestess actually living alone in her own tent for the majority of her life.
We know that Felt has a blessing.
Yeah.
We also know...
The wind blessing, right?
Yes, the Bow Hunter planned on killing Felt also with Amelia and Old Man Rum. So that means if Subaru hadn't been involved, 2 candidates would have died that day.
That's true.
Which is interesting. And also interesting, what if the person that hired Felt to steal it had a suspicion about Felt and thought, ooh, I could knock them both out in this one meeting with the Bow Hunter? Because Amelia might come to try to find it. Maybe they would kill Felt and, one less candidate for the priestess role.
So do you think Felt is part of the family that has gone into hiding, or a separate family?
It's a good question. I mean, it has to be some specific family for Reinhard to react the way he did at the end there, where he proclaims that this is to him his queen.
Yeah.
So I feel like her family name, especially when we just went back and watched that episode again, and she's like, I don't have anything fancy like a family name, leads you to guess that her family name is really significant.
Yeah. Going back a little bit to Wilhelm, he had lines about like why he was interested in Subaru,
yes.
And how his eyes were those that have seen a numerous amounts of death.
Yeah.
And
eyes of one who has experienced death.
Yeah, and I think that you can get a lot from 2 different ways of reading that, right? Experienced death is in what we know it to be with Subaru, and that's Subaru being the person who's dying, or what I believe he is referencing, which is just somebody who has been around and witnessed death again and again and again, which Subaru's also witnessed.
Who has had a lot of tragedy and loss of loved ones in their life, which we can say that other than Subaru, he has had a lot of tragedy in all of this repeat, because he had to save Felt and Amelia and Old Man Rom from the Bow Hunter. He had to save Rem when Rem was the one that was contacted by the shaman in the village. All of those children being hurt by the mob beasts and the shaman. He definitely has tried his hardest and had to relive tragedy not only to himself but to those he suddenly was reintroduced to over and over again, to the point where he cared for them.
Yeah. I wonder if we were able to get an idea of which candidate is from where in the towards the end, when we get all the different candidates and what they look like, some of their names. We got Kararagi, which is the land of which the one who's in the fluffy,
the cute snow cap and little snowballs. I have a feeling that she lives somewhere very snowy.
Okay.
By her design.
I'm gonna come back to that. The green-haired one's name is Krush, I believe, Krush. And then we have Priscilla as well. I think that we can do some pretty good deduction about what they're wearing each, right? And you said that you probably think that the person with the cotton-looking clothing comes from somewhere cold. If that's the case, I'd assume that that's either way north or way south. If it's way north, and it's from the northern province, then that's where the Bow Hunter was given her blade, or the blade that the Bow Hunter was using was from the northern province. So that could be where she was from, or potentially who hired her in the first place. Whether it would be her or somebody who's connected to her.
See, if you were going to go with personality of one of these candidates, if you were just going to theorize if one of these candidates, because we did theorize at the time that we met the Bow Hunter, I wonder if one of the candidates is trying to get rid of the competition.
Yeah.
But so from surface level, Priscilla's personality, you might think, so Priscilla says that always gets what they want, always goes their way. It wouldn't be hard to guess that they would either order for something to happen, or their knights and servants might act for her.
Yeah.
But I think that we get these added layers of Priscilla's personality in this episode that would just get rid of all of that theorizing, that Priscilla would be the one that would harm people or ask people to harm people for her.
I agree with you completely. Although, there is some, similar like feeling of personality to Priscilla and the Bowel Hunter that like I have like
Is it the dress?
a specific vibe. Maybe the dress, maybe it's just like the attitude or tone. That being said, I love Priscilla. Priscilla's one of my favorite characters. I don't know, like I love her.
Al is the name of Priscilla's knight. I love them.
Yeah.
There's something about them, and she's like, this is my personal priority Appa servant.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, I love this girl.
Like, I understand the whole, like, okay, is she somebody who is so privileged and, like, coddled, right?
Mm-hmm.
That she's never even seen the skin of an Appa. Like,
But she also seems to love, like, fun and, like, hijinks. Like, she definitely thought this would be funny and interesting to pick up Subaru and bring him here.
I'm almost surprised that she doesn't have, like, a figure with her that's akin to Roswaal, who is very protective of her. Because her going out of her way into the alleyway makes me think that, like, she was coddled so much that she wants to experience that other side of life, you know?
I think she has, like, an adventurer soul to her. Like,
Yeah.
maybe, like, deep down. I mean, she literally, if she was so privileged that she didn't even know that Appas had skin, she wouldn't just so readily eat a fruit that was given to her by a somewhat stranger.
Yeah.
Like, she obviously was, like, intrigued by this and was, like, bit into it. It was like, whoa, it is an Appa. Like, you don't just, like, eat random fruit if you're, like, super suspicious of the world and not, like, into adventuring.
Yeah. So even though that I am a big Priscilla stan at the moment, I do acknowledge that it was pretty fucked for her to call Amelia a half-wit. I imagine that is because she is half-elf, right?
Definitely, it seems like even the person that's from Kararagi
Yeah.
seemed to also kind of be really dismissive towards Amelia.
Yeah.
So obviously she's the candidate that they look down upon, whether it is related to the fact that we get that name of Satella when we first meet her, and she resembles what we've heard about the Jealous Witch.
It's also super interesting that she's the only one there that has somebody like sponsor like Roswaal.
Maybe she needed to have that.
Maybe
because her standing. I mean, we don't really have a family name to her that would give her such a standing. Like, all these other candidates seem to be coming from very prestigious households.
But it's also like, what? This role is going to be the dragon's priestess. Roswaal wants to kill the dragon, right?
Is that why wow. I'm so intrigued by Roswaal.
Right?
Like, he purposefully linked himself with a candidate. He probably couldn't link himself with the others because of the fact that they come from prestigious households. So he almost had to promote someone in the same way that little theory I had that maybe Reinhard purposefully was promoting felt for a motive. You could definitely say that for Roswaal, that, oh, if I'm the one that promotes this girl and she does become that priestess, then I am just one
Step
inch closer to my goal.
Yeah. Weird, right? Mm-hmm. The dragon stone.
Did they talk about it in a way that it almost seemed like they are marrying the dragon? Because there were some words after, like, dragon priestess that were like, enter into something with the dragon.
Yeah.
That I was like, does Subaru not hear this right now? He's jealous of this purple-haired guy, Julius, that comes up, but he's not jealous of the dragon. He should be.
A new prophecy has been engraved into the dragon stone. It says, from the 5 capable of becoming the nation's new leader, choose one priestess to enter into a covenant with the dragon.
I guess it was that word choice that made me kind of be like, so are they, like, married to the dragon? Like, the dragon is king.
Yeah.
And that they are the queen. Is that what we're going with?
I just love how much of, like, a showman Reinhard is, right? Like, he's in here for a reason. Like, I imagine him being like, all right, I've planned this all out, Felt. Count to 160. Right at 160, come in. And then, like, the entire, like, meeting, he's counting in his head, making sure everything's played out so it can have the most theatric, dramatic entrance, like, possible, right?
I definitely like the fact that Reinhard and Wilhelm, from, like, having the same name, that they both seem to like and respect Subaru.
Do you think it's a father-son thing?
And probably grandfather and grandson.
My mission's completion.
But I do like that they both seemingly have some, care or interest in Subaru.
Yeah.
And so him being linked to the prestigious family that sounds like the Von Austrias are could be really great, especially because he's also linked to their candidate.
Yeah. I would love to see, okay, like, who's reacting here to this news, and how are they reacting,
Yeah,
you know?
okay. Announce my mission's completion.
Because, like, the fifth and final candidate for the throne has been located, right? But, like, he seemingly has kept this a secret up until this point. I wonder if it'd be a huge target on Felt's back unless he hadn't.
What was the whole point of this meeting, then, if no one knew about this entrance? Did the wise man, Miklatov, is even surprised by this. So what was the actual meeting? It wasn't a drinking party.
Gonna go forward with it with just four, perhaps.
It probably was.
And then so we see Lord Miklatov react. We see Julius look a bit inquisitive, right? Then
Roswell's like, Roswell's here for the party. He's like, this is the best.
I really cannot look at Roswell without thinking of Hisoka, and that's my fault. And I apologize.
I know.
But, like,
I can understand it, but I like him because he seems really entertained with, like, he's into a party. He's into, like, drama. He's here for the drama.
If things are more interesting, the better. Like,
yes.
And then the other candidates, all of them look like, pretty surprised-ish.
So what's Amelia's reaction?
The only
Did
person,
we get hers?
A little bit. The only person who had, like, a weird reaction, in my opinion, was Krush. So look, it seems like everybody's, like, looking around initially and looking for them, but Krush just, like, immediately looks back up to the throne here. You know?
As if, like, eyeing the prize that another candidate, another competition, another rival stepping in.
Then Felt has two people who
like
somewhat
Rem and
resemble
haircuts,
Anya from Spy Family.
It's like Anya mixed with, like, Rem and Ram inspired.
Yeah. The one I myself revere as queen. Felt.
This is just so exciting.
I am so excited and nervous. I don't know what to expect from this kind of development. What is Amelia's reaction? What is Subaru's reaction? I imagine Subaru is going to abandon all necessary precautions and then just break through the barrier and go try to hug Felt or, like, catch up with her right now, which probably isn't the move if
so this is a good topic to be on. So we have Amelia being, obviously feeling pretty hurt by Subaru walking in with Priscilla, where we get that line from her of, like, give me a reason to trust you.
Yeah.
And obviously this spells mistrust 100%. Coming in with a person that Amelia was obviously like, how do you know this person? Why were you with them? And going against her wishes. Like, this is not an environment and a thing that she wanted him to witness. And she also is, like, worried about him at the same time. But we also have this element now that Subaru is now friends with, or friendly with, 3 of the candidates for the throne. Like, and there's already that element of, like, Amelia is unhappy maybe with him being close to one of the other candidates. It definitely, like, spells, like, mistrust and makes her wary, makes her nervous, uncomfortable. And now we have another candidate being introduced that Subaru also has positive feelings toward. And I'm like, is this just... This whole idea, this whole plot is that Subaru becomes friends with all of the candidates for priestess, and then they all revolt and they don't want to go into a covenant with the dragon, and then Roswell gets to come in and kill the dragon.
Subaru is the dragon.
Subaru is the dragon. Who is going to be going into a covenant with him?
So I think Subaru's character in this episode is really interesting because, like, the way that we were reacting and feeling to some of his decisions, I feel like is really understandable for a reason. Like, how he is utilizing his furthered connection with Rem so that he could, like, leave the castle and do this thing that we probably both were feeling like, oh, like, is this the right thing to do? You should just stay home, right? But
it's because it seems a little disrespectful to me.
But why I love it is because it makes complete sense for somebody who is the person that Subaru is and is currently went through. He had to go through how many iterations of one scenario to get it right. He had a line this episode was that he was only of use if he was there when anything occurs. Because with his own abilities and capabilities, he is only going to be able to relive and change moments based off of his knowledge of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
If he's far out removed from the situation and has no knowledge of what happened, and then he has to try to fix things, where the fuck's he going to begin? Like,
also, do we truly know the facts of where the restart point even is?
Yeah.
Does it have to be a moment in time where you really could change things? Do you have to be witness to the event the first time to even be able to go there and change it?
Yeah.
You know, how does the restart point even come to be? At the moment, it just feels like, oh, it's the next day after you've completed you finally made it through the night.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, what if he literally would have to be there? Like, what if there comes a time where he is not around when something bad happens and he is unable to his restart would be at a completely different time.
Exactly. And like the way that we don't know and we're asking those questions, he probably is as well. And like he is acting a bit erratic and like overstepping a little bit. But I think that that's completely within the character that he is at the moment, with his emotional state right now, wanting to help and keep these people alive. He does not, in my opinion, the option still lays on the table in his mind that there's a possibility he could lose all of this and go back to last time he woke up and restarted, like where he restarted last time. And these people are, like, he cherishes these relationships. He doesn't want anything to go wrong. So of course he'd act a little like oversteppy. I like it.
I mean, yes, it definitely makes sense, and the feelings I had in this episode were the perfect feelings to have happen in terms of how he was acting and me being like wanting to walk out of the room because I'm like secondhand like, oh, Subaru, don't do this. Like, I have a hard time like for live action watching anything where I get like a secondhand embarrassment or I'm like scared by the drama. I will literally get up and walk out of the room sometimes. Obviously I would never do that. I have to like sit here, you know, and get myself through it. But if I was just watching something on my own time, I'd probably be like,
leave the room.
Leave the room.
I'd have to rewind it like 3 times.
And like make me like witness it. Like, you gotta see this part, the drama. I just gotta be more like Roswell and be like in it for the drama.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Last thing I have is that the whole mention again of a media or media like, with the conference mirrors.
The mirrors.
Yeah. I wonder if at all Subaru's phone's going to come back into the mix of things and that be somewhat important or like another like I don't know, acknowledgement of how it's different or from another world.
Maybe, or it's just that it starts a little spark or hint that he will end up wielding or utilizing media himself later on in terms of like helping out, in terms of helping with figuring out how to save people, the reliving and the restarting of lives, and you know, maybe even just the strategy of even being able to take pictures of events, and maybe even after he restarts, who knows, how do those pictures get saved?
Good question. Any guesses on what Felt's maids, servants behind the children looking people behind Felt who definitely give Ram vibes? Twins, demons.
Maybe it's just like, maybe you have to, in order to be a candidate, maybe you have to have twin maids at your service. Maybe that's like a requirement.
It's pretty specific, but
it's like even more impressive that the maids at Roswell's mansion are demons, because demon twins were never allowed to live. Ooh. And they were like an exception. So like Amelia has the better twins.
I like it. All right, that's all I have you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.